Hey, I'm Sara Gonzales. Welcome to the news and why it matters. We have two very special guests in studio today. We have Lauren Chen, roaming millennial.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for being here with Blaze Media, BlazeTV. We're so excited to be partnering with you. And we have Chad Prather.
Hey.
Hello, Chad Prather.
Hello. It's good to be with you guys.
It's good for you to be back.
It's good to be back. I don't even know how I got here today. I just suddenly showed up and it was like, y'all had an empty seat sitting here. Let's talk about things.
Yeah.
So now you're a hat salesman?
100%. Absolutely. Yeah. These guys, and by the way, see, not a good look. Great look.
And
Sells themselves.
Really quickly, tell people where they can find you.
They can find me at watchchad.com. There's nothing vain at all about that web address. Yeah. We're touring around the country. We do about 95 comedy tour shows a year, the Star Spangled Banter Comedy Tour. And we will be in Dallas, Fort Worth, and Grand Prairie tomorrow night, December 6th.
Now, tell me, what is it called? What's
the theater at Grand Prairie now?
No, but I mean, what's the name of the show?
The Star Spangled Banter.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I take it there's a lot of anti-American stuff in it.
Yeah, it's very unpatriotic. We don't do anything like that.
Between the hat and the Star Spangled Banter, you should know.
Very unpatriotic.
People always ask, they say, is it a political show? And I said, well, yes and no. I mean, Washington's writing the jokes. We might as well tell them. Yes. So let's just do it. But it's an American show.
So are you having a hard time finding the line on jokes now? Because jokes really are best when it's an exaggeration of something.
Right.
But how do you exaggerate
now
everything is insane?
We live in the onion.
Yeah. We live in the hyperbole. Everything is seemingly satire these days.
Right.
But, I've always been one who poked the bear. I'm an observational humorist. I'm sort of a modern day, on a conservative side, Will Rogers that just looks at reality and says, wow, this is funny. You can sum up everything I say with one question and it's one word. Really? And that's what I see when I look at the news today.
Right.
All right, let's get into top stories. Glenn, what was the top story for you?
Top story for me has to be the merger between Mastercard and Microsoft, and completely unrelated to the merger between Microsoft and the U.S. government.
I'm sure. I'm very sure. Lauren.
So obviously nativity scenes are coming up, and apparently some people are deciding, hey, did you know that Jesus actually had two dads? And I've even seen one with two moms. So we're getting all kind of a creative activism coming out with Christmas. So that's...
Jesus did kind of have two dads in a way.
Not quite the ones they were thinking of with these scenes.
He's kind of the only one that did.
I'm not so sure that that's what they meant.
Well, I don't know if you guys turned on the news today, but apparently there was a major event in the funeral of George H.W. Bush. And of course, like every other news cycle that goes on, it can't be about the man who passed away and was the 41st president of the United States. It has to be about Donald Trump.
Oh, my God.
Yes, of course. All right, got a lot to get into. Before we do that, I want to thank our sponsor, Riduzone. Okay, so you guys have not been here to see my fat picture.
Oh, she shows us every time we have somebody that comes in from the outside.
I can't wait to show you. Okay, so Riduzone it helps you lose weight. It's a capsule that contains the good molecule in olive oil. So it boosts your metabolism and it helps you feel full longer. I used to weigh 100 pounds more.
She's one of those people.
So yes, if you can guess which one that is.
Isn't that crazy? She'd look at her, then look at the picture. There's
See, I'm a comedian and it so much hits my brain at one time and I have to be like this. You're getting married in 3 weeks. Does your fiance seen this? So you know what you're capable of.
He's putting it up on the screen in the control room, so he knows.
He's right now going, yes, I do.
But that's my mom, though. But that's my mom, so those are my genes also.
Yeah.
That's my mom next to me. See? So... He's weighing the odds here. Okay. But so Riduzone, I lost the weight and I was having trouble with cravings because, you do the yo-yo diets and it's really hard when your metabolism sucks. And Riduzone was what I found. I take it religiously, and it really helps with cravings and with boosting the metabolism. So you can go to riduzone.com. That's RIDUZONE.com, and use promo code THEBLAZE to get 30% off of a 3-month supply. We did the math for you. It's $1.39 a day. There's no reason not to do it. RIDUZONE.com. Get it before the new year. All right, Glenn.
So I'm not worried about 1984 being reality at all. In China, it's going to be 1984, but here it won't. Here it will be Brave New World. And we'll just all accept it with open arms because everything is so easy and so wonderful. And here, just take another pill and make that go away. So today, Mastercard and Microsoft announced a merger. Now, I just want to read this. They're going to do something new. And they say, it's really hard because you have to have ID everywhere you go, everywhere.
Not voting, though. So
not voting.
Right.
Although they do say here, voting. Yeah. Voting, driving, applying for a job, renting a home, getting married, boarding a plane, buying a house. What do all these things have in common? You need to prove your identity. But now, in partnership with Microsoft, we're working to create a universally recognized digital identity. That's fantastic. You know how we all said that we would never do a national ID card because we thought, oh, that's kind of spooky. I think Hitler might have done that. We shouldn't have one of those? Don't worry about it. Mastercard and Microsoft are doing it for us. So we'll be able to have a national ID card under Mastercard. And I like this. Voting, driving, applying for a job, renting a house, buying a house, getting married, boarding a plane. What do these all have in common? I know. What the system in China is stopping people from doing who fall out of the favor with the government. They're building the same things. We're just packaging it differently here in the United States. I would cut up my MasterCard right now over this news, and here's why. They've already, you know who Robert Spencer is? Mm-hmm. Robert Spencer's not a radical. He's a pretty reasonable guy. I don't agree with everything he says, but who do you agree with everything? Sure. He's a reasonable guy who has briefed presidents about Islam. He was deplatformed, and the first time I ever heard of a bank or anybody else deplatforming, Mastercard. They took him and they cut him out. They will not do any business. No banks that run Mastercard will run anything through for him. You can't do that. You can't do that. And this is what they're creating. And I just think maybe we should pay attention.
Lauren, is this absolutely terrifying to you?
I mean, I think so. And someone who has actually, I have family that's still in China. This is not good. I mean, I don't know that it should even be necessary to say, hey, this is kind of why I don't want these mega banks like having access to literally every single thing that I do, like voting, especially with them trying to digitize voting as well. It's like, I mean, are we just going to give up and say, yeah, MasterCard presents the election at some point to just make it easier for them? And it's scary because I think a lot of people are like, oh, but it's easier. So it's like, freedom, liberty, guarding against authoritarianism and totalitarianism, or easy, right? That's such a hard thing for my generation. I don't know why.
It's hard for us on the show too sometimes.
How old are you?
45.
Okay.
45.
So you're kind of in my age range. I'm 53 or 50. I don't even know. I'm an old man now, but you're behind me about 10 years, so you might remember when we all used to say, I'd never give my fingerprint to the U.S. government.
Right.
We gave it to Apple. We were just like, oh, yeah, but this is easy. I mean, it's crazy. Now, on the
and we don't think twice about it.
Don't think even twice. Now we're all like, look, my phone will unlock with my face.
I mean, people are bringing in wiretaps to their home, i.e. Alexa and Google Home, so they don't actually have to take a remote and change the channel.
Right.
Like, that's all it took, apparently, for us.
And we know it's listening all the time.
Because that's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
That's...
Hitler right now is like,
thrilled.
Oh, I was just like 70 years early.
This close. Listen, we have a security system in my home that listens to us. I have 2 Alexas. I have a Google. Yesterday, my wife was on a business telephone call, and I could see the Google on the fireplace just flashing, and it bugged me. And I said, "Hey, Google, turn off. I'm sorry, that function is not available right now."
Oh my God.
So it's crazy. We used to say that we would never allow a microchip to be implanted in our skin or something like that. What do we have now? We have a chip that you have to insert every time you use a credit card. Mm-hmm. So imagine if they started applying. Just the other day, the CEO of Apple says, well, it's a sin to say this and to say that, and you should be banned from social media platforms. What happens when you go to make a charge at a store, buy food for your family or anything like that, and suddenly that chip is declined? Because let's face it, every keystroke, every Google search, everything that you've done, everything that you've requested, from the music you listen to the news you research, has been recorded. They've got it.
Well, there's a new bill in the State House of New York for gun safety.
Right.
Where if you want to buy a gun, the bill says you have to submit to a 3-year search of everything that you've ever written online. So you have to turn over all of your passcodes, and they're going to search for everything online about you. Are you kidding me? This is the Chinese system.
Right, and I've brought this up to liberals who support this, and like, what, this is just common sense. Like, you know, there have been so many like dog whistles of other shooters we could have prevented, and it's not so much that I think that someone who goes around threatening, let's say, Jews online should be able to buy a gun, but the question is, who decides what's hate speech and what's not, right? Some New York bureaucrat, is that what the founding fathers like had envisioned when they said, you know, shall not be infringed? I don't think so.
Let me ask you this. Do you think if we had this system, the King of England would have let our founders have access to anything? Of course not. Of course not. It's all common sense until you're on the other side of it. And everybody should pay attention to the left and how they are just chopping people's heads off on the left. I can't wait until I have permission to tell you who I met with that used to be in the Obama administration. And he's a radical. You know, you were there, okay? And it's a total radical, right?
Yes.
He said to me, I'm out. I'm not radical enough. And I'm like, what? He's like, I'm not radical enough. I'm out because I'm not keeping pace with the change that they want, and I disagree with the change. This guy is the king of radicals. He's out. People should pay attention because it's going to be a very small, you know, all communist parties usually end up the very small people that get to use that fast lane on the road.
Yeah, well, we talked about 1984. It's time for everybody to brush up on their Huxley.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
All right, before we get into Jesus apparently having two dads.
Apparently, it was a lot more diverse than we thought.
Okay, let's
That old
ancient
Jewish,
Judea, yeah.
Those ancient Jewish communities, they were so accepting.
They were wild too. Man, the parties there were crazy.
Yeah.
Let's take a break. We'll get into that.
Synagogues, man, it's got sin in the name.
All right, give us the more modern version of the baby Jesus, Lauren.
Right, so everyone, of course, on social media is posting their awesome Christmas displays, and it's funny because certain posts are standing out and actually, somewhat going viral, and it's posts where Jesus has two fathers, not in the way I think Christians might think, but like two, I guess, homosexual lovers who are raising him. There's also one where it's two lesbian Marys, and these are going up, and it's funny. Go through the comments, people who I can bet a bottom dollar would never ever say anything positive about any nativity scene. All of a sudden you tack on two gay Josephs or Marys and they're all suddenly for Christmas. So I don't hate anybody, of course not, but at the same time, this is not what happened.
Yeah, it's just not factual.
Not what happened, and you know what? I mean, look at that. In those days...
The ancient Jews were surprisingly progressive.
Yeah, no, they really were.
I'll tell you what, they must have been taking a really great census there in Bethlehem for them to have to report on that. And you want to talk about an immaculate conception.
Right.
Let me tell you.
And birth.
That is a miraculous
and
birth.
Gestation period. How did the baby appear?
I believe that Mary could have been overshadowed by the Holy Spirit and been with child, as the scripture says, much quicker than I can believe that Joseph and Paul, whatever his name might have been,
and
Roy. Joseph and Roy.
So ironic to me is that these are people who claim to love feminism and stuff, and what they're doing, they're literally replacing one of the most central figures in Christianity, who happens to be a woman, and replacing her with a man. Is that?
But on others, they get rid of the man, and so it kind of evens out, doesn't it? Because
exactly.
you got two in one yard and two in the other yard.
It's modern, and it's just upsetting to me because you just got to know they would never do this to any other religion, right? I mean, can you imagine anything?
I don't know if you would survive if you did that.
No, you wouldn't.
No, you would not.
And they know. I think they know that. And even if there weren't the threat there, it's just they see Christianity as sort of represents Western values that they hate, family values and things like that. And so it's fair game. It's just frustrating that Christmas has now become another reason to, I guess, attack Christians when it should be about just, family and things like that, even if you're not a Christian.
And it's not even just religion that it's become that they're attacking. It's also just politics as well. I saw another picture of a nativity scene with the baby, and I think we have this. It's baby Jesus, and he's in a cage. And because he has tried to immigrate over with his parents, and we have put him in a cage, and there is a border wall of Christmas lights where the wise men are trying to get in, and they can't get in because we are keeping them out.
Keeping the wise men out. Well, I've looked at the pictures of Tijuana now that the caravan's kind of backed off, and let me tell you, those folks didn't look too wise. They left a mess behind
I mean,
them.
I didn't see any gold frankincense. Well, there might have been some frankincense or myrrh. I'm not sure. But no, they weren't wise men or kings. And I like the fact that Jesus is in a little puppy cage. I think that's a little puppy cage, isn't it?
Yes.
A little teeny puppy cage, which is so it's always great too.
Yeah, I mean, because again, it's not based in fact. They were not immigrants. They were coming back for the census.
And they definitely weren't coming back illegally.
Right, exactly. That was where they belonged.
Yeah.
They didn't want to go.
They were trying to follow the law.
Can you imagine? I mean, I don't want to be sacrilegious here, but that they're still people. Can you imagine what Mary was saying on the back of that donkey the whole way there? I mean, my wife has had 4 children.
Yeah.
I ain't putting her on the back of the donkey right before she's given birth because she's not happy.
No.
Yeah.
She's not happy.
I've got 5 kids, and the battery was dead on the vehicle when my wife went into labor with one of our children. And let me tell you, just having to take the time to jump off the battery was bad. And then I was praying, dear Lord, baby, crate train Jesus, help me get out of this. It was bad. But women have been one of the central figures of Christendom. And so, as you said, to eliminate Mary or Mary Magdalene or Jesus appearing in the garden, after the resurrection to a woman, that is one of the things that has been one of the significant defenses and apologetic aspects of Christianity is the central focus and the importance they put on women. Jesus looks at a woman who's caught in adultery and says, let those of you who have never sinned cast the first stone. And so now here you're taking this thing and you're making it almost like here in the first century Palestine, in Judah, that this is going on. It's absolutely ludicrous.
The fact that Mary Magdalene followed the men, that's not done. That wasn't done then. You know, the fact that the women play such a central role, even on Mars Hill. When Paul goes to Mars Hill, there were only two people. One said, "Come back," and a woman. You didn't mention a woman. Why do you mention a woman there? Women were inconsequential. No. But we can't handle that. We can't handle, you know, the first century. And as, dare I say it, progressive as the New Testament is, especially if you look at it first century Judea.
Right.
Yeah, it was crazy progressive.
Before we move on, I want to thank our sponsor, iTarget Pro.
That's great.
Yes, Chad. Okay, so Chad, I asked Chad off air if he knows what this is.
No, I don't. I want to be educated.
Yes.
So what's the main thing to really be a good shot? You already said it. We were talking off air about women. Women are better shooters.
Well, I think women have I think it's a universal deal. They have more finesse muscles. They're a little more easy. Men want to get into the gun and grab it and, you know, muscle through it, and it throws us off target.
Right. So it's trigger control, especially trigger control. Trigger control, man, I don't want to go to the range and just shoot off, you know, $200 worth of shells. So iTarget Pro is this thing where you take your iPhone and you put it in front, and then you put a target in your living room. You put like a bullet, it's a laser, and it doesn't show the laser, so it's no laser sighting. And you can sit across the room. Yeah, right up here. Yeah. You sit across the room and you shoot, and it shows on your phone where you're shooting. It's like going to the range without spending $1 on the range, spending $1 on bullets, and it's great just for trigger control.
Now look, I've been on this show for 15 minutes, and I'm already spending my money buying a target for the living room. I'm buying pills to make me skinny.
Okay, well, but we're giving you promo codes so you can save money.
I need the promo codes.
Right.
Give them to me.
So, itargetpro.com. You get free shipping and 10% off if you use promo code NEWS. All right? itargetpro.com. You got to get you one.
Oh, I'm going to today.
Okay. All right. You know what? I want to get into HW, but let's go ahead and take a break first before we do that. Chad, as we know, George H.W. was laid to rest today. I know his funeral was today.
Right. Well, he was not laid to
He's not
rest.
laid to rest yet?
No, he's got another funeral here
got-
in
yeah.
Texas.
That's right.
That's the thing about being president, and especially living that long. You got to have a lot of funerals. So that's the deal. And I don't mean to make light of it, but it's true. It's got to be hard.
It's got to be so hard on the family.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have
already
to
not
plan
sleeping.
you have to plan the whole thing. You don't really have any say in that, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
It's a state funeral. You had the howitzers at the airport when he took off, the howitzers when he lands, the howitzers when he is put in state, the howitzers when he's gone. Then the funeral itself today, and then another one. Can you imagine the agony the family is going through?
I grew up in the state of Georgia in the deep South, man. That's a lot of potato salad you got to deliver over a period of a week. I'm telling you, because you have a funeral, you got to eat, you know, and everybody's going to come back over to the house and hang out. So I imagine the Bush family hasn't had a lot of sleep. But, so today was a state funeral ceremony, and tomorrow they'll do one in Houston. Of course, they loaded him back onto Air Force One, which I thought was a gracious move on the part of President Trump to send Air Force One and to bring the body in. And, it's been interesting to watch this because even in the midst of, I saw someone on social media today to say, well, it's not often you see a former president eulogize his father, who was also a former president. I was like, no, you've never. You've never seen it. But we saw it today. And so, of course, in a historic moment like that, you would think that would be the thing that gets the central focus. But no, of course, it has to be the body language of Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. How did they react to one another when it's crazy. That's all the headlines are talking about is how when Melania and President Trump came in and had their seat, he reached over and he shook hands with Barack Obama, he shook hands with Michelle Obama. She looked on her face as though it stung, like it literally like touching a cross if she's a vampire. And I'm not saying she's a vampire, but it felt like, she put her hand in acid. And then, of course, Hillary never even looked over. Bill kind of,
And we do have that clip.
Can we watch it?
Yeah, let's
see
watch
But
it.
they're a long way away. I mean, and who do you stop with?
Yeah, right.
It's Bill.
Get that with the concierge, please.
But Hillary is not even acknowledging.
Obama seemed polite.
Yes. And Bill
so did
looked
Bill.
like he looked like he
Bill
wanted
was polite,
to.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Hillary
didn't
was
even,
just
look over.
Nope.
But what do you
tunnel
do?
vision.
But what? I mean, how far?
How far do you go?
How far do you go down the?
Yeah. I mean, Rosalind Carter didn't shake his hand either.
Right.
Saying she was on the very end,
Right.
and Jimmy Carter. So I get that, and that would be where, again, if we live in the world of sanity, we all understand that. That is just, you don't start shaking hands with everybody all the way down the aisle, but that's what everybody wants to talk about.
That would have been grandstanding.
Right.
They would have
If
said
he'd have walked over in front and went all the way down the aisle.
Right.
But that's the way a sane person thinks. Today's news media, and the thing that has to continually exacerbate every situation that comes up, they have to make it about Trump. Can you imagine the eyeballs and the pressure constantly on Donald Trump? And look, the guy's obviously, he's immune to PCs, immune to so much of the media, but the scrutiny. I don't want to go to the bathroom in a public stall at the airport if the lock's broken. I'm paranoid. This guy, it doesn't matter what he does. It's all about him.
You know who I really feel bad for is Melania. Yeah. I think she is one of the most maligned first ladies. She has not done anything wrong. She hasn't inserted herself in anything.
And I think she's, a great example of how to be, someone who is graceful, fashionable, and, in a modest, respectable way. She does humanitarian work. I don't know what else she could do. She's an immigrant. They should love that. Yeah. Right. But because she's attached to Donald Trump, it's like, no.
And the fact that she is, and I don't want to make this about her beauty, but she's a model. She is stunning. The way, when she took that Africa trip, it was like she was traveling with Ralph Lauren.
Right.
Not a cover. Nobody says anything. In fact, they denigrate the way she looks.
Yeah, but have you seen Michelle Obama's arms?
Oh, I know. Those are
those
are fabulous
come on.
arms.
She works out all the time. Very
And when
clearly.
she dances with Ellen.
All right, we've got more to come in overtime, so stay tuned. We'll see you in a minute.